Well, greetings and salutations, and welcome once again to the Newsman Weekly Podcast, episode number 72, for those scoring along at home. My God, there's a lot of shit going on in the world these days. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm ready for the weekend, and the next one is still a week away, but holy shit, I'm tired and old, but mainly tired. I got to caution you guys, I am a grumpy old man today.
All right.
So if you're out there, be prepared to catch a whole bunch of flack as we matriculate through this show.
That's
today.
a great teaser.
I apologize in advance for the amount of crap you guys are about to take. So let me say good morning to Zach Heiser, the show's executive producer, and Hayden Gray, our official videographer, for maybe at least one more week. Good morning, guys.
Good morning, Carl.
Welcome to a new fresh week of hell. Speaking of hell, how the hell was your weekend?
Oh, mine was good. I did some Halloween festivities, did the trick-or-treating on Saturday, did a kind of Lexington backwoods hayride trick-or-treating on Friday night. So it was fun. And then Sunday I helped the kids with some homework and clean the house a little bit.
You like Mr. Mom.
Did some dad shit.
You like Mr. Mom.
I watched the World Series on Saturday night.
We'll talk about that in a minute.
Yeah, so it was a great baseball game.
Who cares? Hayden?
Hey, I don't have much to add. I didn't really do a whole lot except enjoy a nice Steelers win on Sunday. I know we'll talk about NFL.
Talk about
too,
that crap in a minute, too.
Low-key.
We don't have to talk about the Steelers.
Oh, we do. We
I
do.
don't know.
And the
All right.
Packers.
I got to tell you something. The Newsman Weekly shit list just got an exclamation point. The Ohio Department of Transportation / Cocosing. I don't know who's responsible more, whether it's ODOT, whether it's Cocosing, whoever it is. The crap they're doing at Hanley Road and the Route 13 intersection, I swear to God, you could put gerbils out there and have it make more sense. Saturday afternoon, I try to drive down Hanley Road down toward the intersection. Traffic is backed up all the way to the top of the hill. You can barely crest the hill before you run into traffic. It is absolutely ridiculous. It's an intersection that you're repaving. You're not re-engineering the whole damn thing.
It's already a dangerous hill to begin with, right?
It is a dangerous hill, especially when the roads are about to get icy here soon.
I mean, pave it, line it, and get the hell out of there.
I'm glad I don't commute from Belleville anymore.
Every day you turn around, it's a different lane configuration. Today, this morning, they got 2 Mansfield cop cars sitting down there because this thing is so whacked out. They got 2 Cocosing guys kind of directing traffic. You got people kind of trying to pull in and out of McDonald's, in and out of the gas station, in and out of Bob Evans. For God's sake, this shouldn't be this damn hard.
Trying to keep you on your feet.
how long has this been going on?
I don't know.
long time.
This intersection crap's been going on for months, and Ohio Department of Transportation, get this crap fixed. Find a way to have one intersection near an interstate not completely screwed up for weeks and weeks and weeks. All right.
Get it fixed.
That's enough about that right now. My blood pressure is sky high, but
Yeah, I don't know
I
if
needed to
cough is
talk
what you
about
need
that.
right now.
Oh, well, you know what? I'm going to have some more.
Okay.
High school football playoffs started over the weekend. Hayden, I know you were down in the valley, and I was some damn place called Strasburg. So talk.
Oh, yeah. You came out of retirement.
Yeah, out of retirement.
Yeah, talk about the game you saw, Hayden.
No, I saw, Clear Fork hosting Orville. It's a pretty good game. On paper, it looked like it'd be the most competitive of our local teams, and it was. Clear Fork lost by a touchdown, but they're not alone. They were one of, I think, going into the playoffs, if you include the bye weeks, we had 7 Richland County teams in the playoffs, and 5 of them are now gone. So we're down to Shelby and Lex.
Down to 2. I made the journey over to Strasburg. I used to make that trip a lot when I was still had my mother was still alive and living in Old Washington / Cambridge. And the way to get there is to take 30 to 250, get behind the Amish buggy of your choice, and then go 30 miles an hour for as long as you can. I will say this about Strasburg. It is one of the few communities left in the world that actually has an open Hardee's restaurant.
Oh.
So it's out by the interstate there by 77. So if you're ever blowing through Strasburg, make sure to check it out. It's pretty soon it'll be like a historic site at some point.
Right.
But
Be a Dollar General or something in a few
Not
years.
many Hardys left out there.
First game I've covered this year, I did go over and watch the Lucas Cubs fall short at Strasburg. Interesting. I've never seen this before, and if I was a Lucas fan, I'd kind of be annoyed. I've never heard a stadium PA guy broadcast over the PA during the play.
Like commentary?
Yes. It's like listening to the radio, except you're hearing it through the speaker.
Yeah, I'm not
like
a fan
as the play is going on. Not
as the play is going on,
with
yeah.
8 rushing yards.
Yeah,
he's
no.
just like,
I'm not a fan
and he
of that.
rushes at left tackle.
No, he's like, let's say the quarterback for Strasburg's name is Smith.
Yeah.
Smith back to pass, rolling to his right, looking. I'm like, dude, you're not on the radio. Shut up.
That's
I
crazy.
mean, I get that they were at home. It'd be one thing if it was in the regular season, but man, in the postseason, I don't like that either way. But
If I was a Lucas administrator, I'd be sending a letter to Strasburg this morning that says, "What the hell? We're playing football, and tell your guy to shut up."
You might just do it anyway
Yeah.
because you're just so pissed off.
I might, dude. Here's your job: gain of 4 on the play, 2nd and 6,
like golf,
and you're done.
Yeah.
And you're done.
This isn't. Fox.
Everybody sitting in the stadium
CBS.
sees the quarterback is rolling out to his right. We see that. You don't need to tell us over the public address system.
He had dreams of being an announcer that never panned out. Carl.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous the way that guy was going on. Hey, speaking of high school sports, though, congrats to the Lexington High School boys team. Won the state cross-country title in Division II, and their girls finished 3rd as a team. So kind of a big deal for Lexington, which plays cross-country, runs cross-country the way, who am I thinking of, a great football team? Oh, not the Green Bay Packers. I don't know, really good football team plays football. Very well done. All right, NFL overreactions. We don't need to talk about the Browns. They didn't lose because they didn't play.
It's a good week.
The
Good
Steelers,
weekend.
if I'd have told you before the season, Hayden, that you'd be overjoyed that your team beat the Indianapolis Colts, you'd be like, dude, it's the Indianapolis Colts. But today your heart's just a flutter because
Yeah,
you
it
beat
is.
the Indianapolis Colts and Daniel Jones, the quarterback.
Yeah, well, after I corrected you on the actual quarterback, you thought it was Mac Jones.
Mac Jones,
Plays for a
Daniel
different
Jones,
team.
some
Danny
guy named
Dimes.
Jones.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. I would have been surprised at the beginning of the season, but as I informed you, the Colts are one of the hottest teams in football. Coming into yesterday with one of the most efficient offenses in NFL history coming into yesterday. And after a loss.
NFL history.
Yeah. After a heartbreaking loss to your Packers last
You look
week.
better with a cheesehead, by the way.
It was great. What a great football day. Those don't come often, and just got to try and enjoy it, despite whatever you may say.
What do you think of the Packers?
Packers season's over.
The old uniforms.
I hate the.
That was the best part of the game.
I hate
suck.
those uniforms because
too.
every time I don't care whether they win or lose, they put those uniforms on. 5 guys go in the IR.
Yeah,
those
those
are
are playing like
See
it's
ya.
1945.
Oh yeah, it's like they are just injury magnets. And yes, Hayden, you're just overjoyed that the best tight end in football was done for the year.
Yep.
Yep. So
He had his Super Bowl against us last week. Now he'll watch from the sidelines.
Yeah. Well, hopefully several members of the
You
Steelers
lost to the
will join.
Jags.
Tucker Kraft's out for the year.
We lost to who?
Did you play Jacksonville? Or
No,
who?
you don't even know who they were
Oh
playing.
yeah, Carolina.
Yeah,
They're
shut
so
up.
bad. I don't even remember who it is you lost to.
What's the Steelers' record? Just curious.
We're 5-3.
Okay, Carolina's 5-4. That's because they're
Okay.
so bad, and their starting quarterback missed like 2 or 3 games. So yeah, shut up. Just shut
What a
up.
bad loss. Well,
Yeah.
come up with whatever excuses you want.
Oh, it was a terrible loss. Team played like crap, and I'm beginning to doubt whether Matt LaFleur is the guy to get this team to a Super Bowl.
Oh, they'll be fine. It's.
I mean, they're still first place in their
5-2-1.
division. Yep.
5-2-1. There's really no
Here we
NFL
go.
team this year. I mean, the Colts were kind of the team that was looked to be better than everybody, but I don't think there really is one right now.
there's
Maybe the
not.
Bills.
It's such a week-to-week league. It just doesn't matter. Hey, the important thing is Major League Baseball is completely broken. I can't wait till after next
sitting back
year
for this one.
when the lockout begins, and maybe some sort of fiscal sanity will return to Major League Baseball, and the Los Angeles damn Dodgers can stop buying World Series titles.
Yeah.
I didn't watch a pitch
You didn't,
of this World Series. I don't care
out.
if it was the greatest games ever played. The system is broken.
Both can be true, though.
The first back-to-back World Series champions since the 90s when the Yankees did it. And in the 90s, the Yankees were buying everybody, and baseball was
not
broken then,
$400
too.
million.
No,
worth.
but you know,
Factor inflation.
some
Shut-
sort of money at
shut
that
up,
time
Hayden.
that was
God.
obscene.
You are miserable. I'm just saying, you're miserable.
Yeah, I don't like what the Dodgers do either. Part of me is like, well, there's other billionaire owners in a sport without a salary cap that could be spending competing money. So I think there's something to that too. But yeah, that said, I mean, I love baseball, and I really enjoyed this World Series. I enjoyed rooting against the Dodgers. I think it's good for baseball to have a villain. It was the Yankees for obviously many years, and I think the Dodgers right now are fulfilling that role. And that Game 7 was just crazy.
Cinema.
I mean,
the really good news is, if you're a baseball fan, enjoy the 2026 season.
I know.
Because there will be a lockout when that season's over. The collective bargaining agreement ends, and the owners are going to insist on a salary cap. The only guy who won't vote in favor of a salary cap is the idiot that owns the Los Angeles Dodgers, who has more money than God.
Right.
Because teams like the Guardians, almost said the Indians, can't say that. Teams like the Guardians, the Reds, the Cardinals, and any team that plays in less than a metro market, you can't compete.
Yep.
I'm sorry, you can't.
It needs work. Baseball, it's never been perfect, but I will say the game on the field, I think the pitch clock has been great for the game. I think there's a lot of exciting stuff going on right now. That's why it's sad that we're coming up to this situation where there probably is going to be a lockout, but we've gotten through it before. We'll get through it again.
I just hope they stay locked out the entire season. We miss the entire year if the Players Association doesn't realize some sort of fiscal sanity has to NFL has salary cap, NBA has a salary cap, baseball players, you're going to have a salary cap.
It's probably time.
It is. Folks, we couldn't do one Newsman Weekly show, much less 72, without all of you. So thanks again to all of you for joining us today for your weekly dose of news, entertainment, and hopefully truthful information. We are grateful and yet somewhat amazed. So many of you come to us every week, an audience that's growing by leaps and bounds. According to the internal polling data that I did this morning, this is now the #1 podcast in the free world, or at least the #1 podcast being recorded right now as we speak at the Richland Source offices. We know we couldn't do this show without your support. We are eternally grateful to all of you. Many thanks to local country singer Luke Watson for creating this show's theme song, Smoke and Drink. And also many thanks to our great friends and lovely people at Relax It's Just Coffee. They sponsor this show, and they're a very great partner to the Newsman Weekly. Every day just starts better with great coffee. I've got it in my official unhappy coffee cup today. I did put it in that. And for being such a great partner to the Newsman Weekly. Every day just starts better with great coffee. Our friend Paul Kimmerling and his baristas at Relax simply have the best in town at 105 North Main Street in downtown Mansfield. Hey, folks, in just a few minutes, we're going to be joined by local business entrepreneur Dan Lew, owner of the Dan Lew Exchange Restaurant on the square in downtown Mansfield, and just a really interesting guy who's involved in a whole lot of things in this community, making a positive difference. He helped stage the recent Orange Cone Festival over there in the mini Brickyard, and it dawned on me we've never had him on the show, so please stay tuned for our chat with Dan Lew. But before we get to that, let's talk about some recent news in Mansfield and Richland County. It may soon get more expensive for truckers who don't use established truck routes through the city. And as someone who gets tired of following tractor-trailer rigs up Diamond Street, God bless, I think that's a great idea. Mansfield City Council on Wednesday evening is scheduled to begin discussions on stiffer penalties for truck drivers heading north and south who opt to take more direct routes through the downtown instead of using Adams Street. And yes, before you keyboard warriors get fired up, City Council is meeting on Wednesday this week. There's no conspiracy to hide any meetings from public view. A few years ago, they moved the meetings to the day after elections. I think they got tired of watching some council members, who shall remain nameless, whose name was on the ballot checking their phone for results during meetings.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea. You're not going to get anything done on a city council. Not that they normally, never mind. Okay.
Certainly, enforcement of the existing truck route ordinance has stepped up since Mayor Jody Perry took office in 2024. In all of 2023, Mansfield Police issued 5 citations for truckers who didn't follow the established route. It's about 1 ticket every 2 months. Since February of 2024, Perry took office in January of that year. They've handed out 177 tickets to truckers who are violating Section 339.02, if you'd like to look it up, of the city's codified ordinances. And yes, when I'm sitting alone at night and I can't sleep, I do get onto the website of the city just to peruse the codified ordinances. That's an average of about 8 per month since they started. There were 72 such citations just in February and March of this year. I wrote a story about this last Friday. Had some interesting graphics and charts. We'll put a link in the show notes, so go check it out.
I like this this proposed stuff because I don't know. I mean, no offense to the truckers, just trying to do their job. But I obviously report a lot on Shelby, and I mean their intersection where there's Legends and some other stuff there at the top of town. I mean, that poor restaurant's been hit by more trucks than I don't know. So maybe they ought to look into it if they don't have something on the books.
Well, it would be easier at this point to drive a truck through downtown Mansfield than it would be the intersection at Hanley Road and Ohio 13. But don't get me started on that again. Anyway, Mansfield Safety Service Director Keith Port said enforcement has increased due to citizen complaints and also the fact the police department has seen its staffing levels slowly increasing over the last 2 years, and they've actually been able to dedicate some manpower to it. Port said there have been almost constant complaints from pedestrians nearly hit by trucks. And if you've ever crossed Diamond Street right by the Richland County Courthouse with the flashing light, you know exactly what I mean.
So the trucks shouldn't be taking Diamond Street or Main Street.
No, they should not. Well, nobody could take Main Street now unless you're driving an ox cart. But when that reopens, there should be no trucks there. If you're coming, and I'll give you an example. If you're coming north on Main Street, you turn right on First. You turn left on Adams, you go down to 5th or 6th, I forget which is, you turn left, and then you go back on Main.
Right.
Adams Street is the established truck route, not Diamond Street, not Main Street, not Mulberry. It's Adams
And you've
Street.
got to you're trying to make downtown more walkable.
Right.
So you got to have truck routes.
Yeah.
You can't have a walkable downtown and also like semi-trucks flying by.
So I'll be paying attention to that Wednesday night at City Council. Hey, guess what, folks? Election Day is almost here. Polls are open Tuesday from 6:30 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. In fact, if you're listening to this on Tuesday, November 4th, it is Election Day.
There's nothing to vote for, right, Carl?
I wish ODOT was on the ballot, because I tell you how I'd vote. With a month of early voting now in the books, there is no damn reason that you didn't vote in this election. You got till 7:30 tonight. Get off your tuchus. Get to the Board of Elections. Not the Board of Elections, sorry. Get to your polling place and vote.
Get a sticker.
Sadly, the Board of Elections people are not going to be happy there.
Yeah, no. Do not go to the Board of Elections to vote on Election Day. Sadly, it's likely that only 1 in 5 registered voters will vote in Richland County this election cycle. Wow. I talked to Board of Elections Director Matt Fingeld this morning. His prediction is 20% voter turnout, which is 1 in 5.
Maybe the stickers just aren't doing it. Maybe we got to add like suckers or something too.
I don't know. There's a lot of suckers out there, but we're only electing mayors, city and village council members, township trustees, school board members, and about 20 tax issues. The sad part is if we did get to like 25%, that'd be an improvement over a comparable election cycle back in 2021 when only 19% of registered voters actually participated around the county. As of this morning, about 4,300 voters took advantage of the early voting window. I certainly hope that everyone else is waiting to vote on Election Day. I know we did our part at Richland Source. We published more than 30 stories in the last month, offering information on every contested race in the county and details on every tax issue on the ballot. We had candidate conversation nights to give you a chance to hear from many of these candidates, especially people running for Mansfield City Council and the Mansfield City Schools Board of Education. Now, it's up to you. Get up off your couch, get out of your recliner. Social media warriors, put down the keyboard that you use so furiously in your parents' basement while you're sitting in your underwear eating Cheetos. Put on your big boy pants or big girl pants. I don't want to be gender biased. Get out and vote. Damn it, it's Election Day. All right, end of sermon, off my soapbox. I warned you guys in advance.
What's your prediction for voter turnout?
20%.
20%. We can do better.
I tried to make a bet with him if we got 21, but he wasn't having it.
1 in 5 registered voters. That's unacceptable.
Yeah, well, that's pretty
sad. And then if you look at overall population, it's probably...
Yeah, I mean, Richland County population is over 120,000, but some of those are kids.
Right. There's
But
like
yeah,
90,000 adults probably,
Yeah.
right?
And we've got the number of registered voters has dropped by about 3,000. They don't like to use the word purge, but about 3,000 inactive, no longer voting people.
Dead people.
Dead people got taken off the voter rolls this past summer. So
No votes, no complaints, right, Carl?
nope. If you don't vote, you can't complain. And even if you do vote, you got to go to a meeting and complain to an official. Simply, folks, going on Facebook and complaining ain't changing shit. I can't state that any clearer. Going on Facebook or any other social media outlet and voicing your opinion don't mean anything. You got to vote. You got to go to meetings. You got to write letters, send an email, make a phone call. Don't be a keyboard warrior. All right. Geez, I am rolling today. Hey, speaking about things that roll, Matt Tifft can't wait to see the green flag drop at his new Mansfield Speedway in 2026, especially when you consider how much of his own green the Medina native has dropped at the facility since buying it earlier this year. Tifft, who got approval from the Mansfield Planning Commission last week for a new $1 million massive jumbotron at the track, has been racing himself for the past 150-plus days to get the once-closed facility off Crawl Road back into racing form. They will have racing in 2026. I think they just finished putting down 7,000 yards of clay that they trucked in from Fremont. They did their haunted racetrack promotion. I went to the meeting. I talked to Matt. He said the biggest thing is just trying to make sure we've got everything prepped and ready for racing in 2026. He said, I know this all sounds like a salesman, all positive, but it's been really good. He said everything's on time, and we're still, in a lot of aspects, further along than I thought we would be. Now, part of his new work as a track owner, not just being a former NASCAR driver, has been navigating all the paperwork and zoning issues and other facets associated with rebuilding a racetrack inside city limits. That's why he was at the Planning Commission meeting to successfully obtain a variance for his jumbotron, a structure that'll be 62 feet tall and 70 feet wide on the east side of the track along the backstretch. The screen itself will be 40 feet tall, but it'll be 62 feet high when it's mounted on the support poles. City zoning code, for those who like to also examine city zoning codes, allows only for such structures to be 50 feet high, thus requiring the need for a variance, which was unanimously approved.
Thank you for your homework and your knowledge dropping, Carl.
That's what I do.
I ain't looking at that.
Okay. Someday when we got more time, I'll tell you about a class I took at Ohio University Political Science Independent Study where I researched 20 years of zoning code violations, reviews, and resolutions. That's how I got to learn how zoning codes work. Wow. In addition to dotting I's and crossing T's, Tifft and his team have been working on a schedule of 100-plus events for 2026 that include far more than dirt track racing. He's hoping to have a race schedule announced by mid-November.
Whoa.
And I did talk to him. We are going to get him on the podcast.
Okay.
He's no longer dead to me. That I probably shouldn't have said that. Maybe he will be again. But we've been trying to get Matt on, but I think we'll be able to make it happen soon because pretty soon winter's going to set in and things will slow down at the track, and he'll have some more time for us.
Racing schedule by mid-November. That's exciting. That's this November. That's like now.
Yep, we are.
Tight.
By the middle of this month, he'd like to have that schedule ready for announce. I know he's already talked about a couple of things on the schedule, but there's going to be a lot more than racing because honestly, if you're going to run a dirt track in Ohio, you better have other ways to make revenue and attract a crowd other than just racing. Because one of the things talking with Matt, if you have 4 primary racing events, and that's where the bulk of your revenue is coming, and you get a typical Ohio rain weekend, and the whole thing gets washed out,
That gotta hurt.
you just lost 25% of your revenue. So they're going to have a lot more than racing out there next year. All right, that's enough for now. Let's take a quick break. I need to have some coffee and calm the hell down.
Yeah.
When we come back, we'll be joined by Mansfield entrepreneur and restaurateur Dan Lew. Please stay with us. Well, welcome back to the Newsman Weekly podcast. Joining us now, as promised, is Dan Lew, owner of the Dan Lew Exchange, the Act Social Lounge, local business entrepreneur involved in a lot of great things going on. Good morning, Dan, or good afternoon, depending. Thanks for joining us.
Well, thank you for having me.
All right, let's start by going back to basics. You are a Mansfield native. Tell us about growing up here. Where'd you go to school? What were your hobbies? Since I just saw you sing karaoke, I got to ask about musical influences, food likes. Give us some sense of what helped a young Dan Lew become the Dan Lew we all know today.
Oh, boy. So I am a class of 83 Malabar graduate. Those were the good old days.
Once again, I'm the oldest man in the room. Thank you very much.
Not by much, probably. But, I did my undergraduate at Miami, Ohio. Got my Bachelor of Science in Marketing, actually.
All right.
I started out in chemical engineering. And after the first year, it was like, no, this is not for me.
Engineering in general, but chemical engineering, people take chemical engineering classes if they want to fail.
Yeah.
That's what I know about that.
It was interesting because it was one of the few programs in the country that had that pulp and paper science.
Okay.
So, I had a what do they call those? A co-op with the Mead Company out of Dayton, and that was kind of the connection there. But part of the other reason I went there was on a baseball scholarship. So
wow.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Played a lot of sports.
What position?
I was a pitcher.
Okay.
All
Yeah,
right.
I was a pitcher.
How fast? How fast was your fastball?
Oh, at the time it was around 92.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man, back in the day, 92 was hopping.
Yeah,
it is. Did you play at Miami then for 4 years?
Just for the first season, and it was rough. You grow up in a little town like Mansfield, and you're a superstar,
right?
And then you get down there, and you're playing Division II ball, and everyone is good.
Yeah.
And it was definitely a rude awakening.
Now, when other than baseball, when you were growing up, what were your hobbies, and who'd you listen to on the radio?
Oh, the good old days. The Buzzard, obviously.
Oh yeah,
out of Cleveland.
Kid Leo.
Yep. WGCL, obviously. Listen to the Bagman every Sunday. Yeah. There was a lot of classic rock back in the day. Yeah.
What about food? What did a young Dan Lew like to eat?
Oh, geez. So, growing up, first generation Korean American, a lot of what we ate was what my mother made, and obviously it was mostly Korean food. But what's funny is, and there's a lot of connection here, is that, you couldn't get the foodstuffs to make the actual true, authentic Korean food. And at the time, there was a small Asian market up in Cleveland, which I guess my parents used to go there. And an old broke down 1963 white Fairlawn station wagon.
I remember those days.
Oh,
did it have paneling on the side?
No, this one did.
All right.
Yeah.
Like
I remember
shag carpet inside.
No, I remember the blue vinyl though.
Yeah.
But anyways, she got what she could and come close enough to what it is. And I think, doing what I'm doing, I'm finding myself kind of doing this, different interpretations of not being able to find, those types of recipes and foodstuffs. So.
All right. Now, like many of us, you had a lot of jobs as a teenager. In my case, I delivered newspapers. I worked the concession stand at a beach and at a state park. I carried really heavy golf clubs as a caddy at a country club. And yes, I too worked as a cook at not real restaurants, Long John Silver's and Kentucky Fried Chicken. I tell people all the time that I went to the places where they took the healthiest of food and made it completely unhealthy. But what sort of work did you do as a young person, and how did it help you prepare for the real world, which is what we call it today?
Right. So I too delivered newspapers as well. That was kind of short-lived, but when I turned 16 and got my driver's license, I delivered pizzas for Domino's.
Nice.
So that was kind of my first step into the official food service industry, and man, we got them out fast. Those were the good old days when, they had that 30-minute.
30-minute, yeah.
Yeah.
Now, were you driving your own car so you had to really step on it?
Yeah, I actually did. My father was gracious enough to buy me a car, and kind of took it from there.
So he said, "You got this job. I just gave you a car, so get a job."
Right, pretty much, right?
And when you guys delivered pizzas, did you do it on a bicycle?
On a bicycle?
Or, sorry, not
Really?
pizzas, newspapers.
No, for our neighborhood, we walked.
Yeah.
You walked?
Yeah,
They don't even have, kids riding around on bikes anymore.
No, well, I mean,
walking to
newspapers
deliver
don't have
newspapers.
circulation
delivered,
departments
yeah.
anymore. It's all in the mail. There's nobody out there. But
Right.
one of the things that I always found, and I went to Ohio. I went to the Ohio University, not the Farmer College in Columbus, but the Ohio University. And at some point, they made the pizza places in town made a huge mistake. As a couple of them came up with the notion of 30 minutes or it's free. Okay, we got a college full of students intoxicated who'd like to get a pizza, but they don't have any money. So we called it pizza roulette. You call up an order, and if it's there within 30 minutes, you don't open the door.
Right.
And if it's after 30 minutes, then you get it because it's free. But, that lasted 2 weeks, and they said, we got to stop this.
Just don't open the door until it's just wait about 5 or 6 minutes till you get to
Yeah.
30 minutes.
But you had to get different dorm rooms because they would start Xing off.
they
We're
would.
not delivering.
Right.
We're not delivering to Washington Hall, room 232 anymore
Right.
because the last 3 times we went, you guys wouldn't open the door. Now, I know you helped manage the Lexington Avenue Kroger's way back in the day. My youngest son, Zach, worked for you for a while. I spoke with him today on WhatsApp, and the fact that I'm 64 and am using WhatsApp this morning, I think is impressive. He lives in Barcelona, and he said to say hello and said that you were the best. He does. He is a Newsman Weekly listener. So when did you decide to get into the restaurant business, and how did that all work out?
Oh, geez. I actually, my first official job out of college was with the Rack's Roast Beef Company. You guys remember that, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And this was in Indianapolis. It was 19 different stores. Learned a lot. It's obviously different working for, a big box store. But the fundamentals of what I do today, I think I can trace it back to them, as well as Kroger.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been a handful of other places as well, obviously. But yeah, it was an experience, and it was just as much of an education as it was the experience.
Yeah, I remember when I was 17 and was working at Long John Silver's in Cambridge, Ohio. We had an assistant manager named Paul Priestess, and he would walk through the back area, whatever, up the front, because what was cooked up front as well. And his battle cry was, you got time to lean, you got time to clean. If he saw you standing around doing nothing, he wanted to know why you were doing nothing, and doesn't something need wiped and washed?
That's probably all you did at Long John Silver's. So you probably didn't have many customers.
Oh, dude, you never been to Long John Silver's on a Good Friday, have you?
No, right.
No, I can't say that I have.
Dude, they made a mistake once, and the manager advertised. We used to have these all-you-could-eat nights, and he mistakenly advertised one on a Good Friday. I walked in the back
I forgot
door.
about the Catholics.
Yeah, I walked in the back door after school at 3 o'clock.
Right.
I'm going to work at 5. My phone's ringing. He says, "Get in." There was a line out the door by the time I got in there. It's like, this is crazy. This is terrible food, and you guys are lining up for it.
Yeah.
So. And I still enjoy Long John Silver's, but
Yeah, I have a Long John Silver story too, because back in school, we didn't have any money.
yeah.
So this was when they were up here on Lexington Avenue, across the street from the old Hardee's, right?
Yep.
And we used to walk in there and get a big boat of those Krispies,
Crumblies.
Yeah.
The Crumblies, yeah.
For 25 cents. And
Yeah.
that's yeah.
Dude, we would have the guys, because we closed at 10 o'clock on a weeknight, right? And we would have a guy, 2 or 3 people, who would wait till like 5 minutes before closing. And you had this giant window full of these Crumblies, because it's just batter that fried, but the fish and other stuff sat on top of it. Because if people saw how much grease was on this stuff, they'd be sitting there. But these guys would come in 5 minutes to close and say, hey, you getting ready to throw those out?
That's right.
So you'd shove them up a bag, and they would literally take this bag of Crumblies. And I'm like, they are 5 minutes away from becoming garbage. But if you want them, sir, have at them. Now, I know you helped open and work Mark Pye's China Gate, later rebranded as China Club, which is kind of where DLX kind of grew from today. Talk about how'd you decide to get it actually into the restaurant business beyond racks?
So that was my senior year in college. Took a part-time job as a server. I learned a lot there as well. Did a lot of training, and actually did training with Mark Pye himself at his flagship store down in Hilliard.
Okay.
And so it was just intriguing to me, just the whole process and the operations and the whole culture of it as well. I took everything in as being, from my past of just hospitality, it just seems like everything fit into what was Dan Lew. It was Soul Search, maybe my first 30 years of my life in terms of finding out who I am and what I am. And I think a lot of that came to fruition because, I was jack of all trades, but never master of one, and had all these God-given talents and education, and I think that's kind of where we landed was food service. Yeah.
Right. Now, what drove the decision to move that restaurant into downtown on the square, and it's the former H.L. Reed building, and help it evolve into what everybody knows today as DLX? What's kind of been the key to success?
Well, the primary motivation was because of the current landlord at the time. Just let the whole area and the building just go.
You were out at West Park, right?
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
That was
probably
tucked back in the corner.
Looking back on it now, probably a wise move.
Why wouldn't you move out of that?
Right.
Better question.
And it was unfortunate because there was a lot of memories, a lot of experience there, but timing is everything. So at the time, Ed Pickens had approached me because he was getting ready to retire, I think, and just kind of slowing down. And he approached me as far as, considering about taking over, and I took him on his offer. It was just good timing.
Did Ed? That's interesting. Was he talking to anybody else about that, or did he kind of see it as you think? Like, he obviously wanted to not just let the building go in hands of anybody. He wanted to keep it a restaurant.
Yeah, I think. We never actually, up until that point, we had never really formally met. But I think he knew of me enough.
He knows good food.
My reputation and whatnot,
Yeah.
as far as from the operational side of things, and that's kind of where we were at.
So when you bought the restaurant, that also included the co-backer, co-backer room, which is an awful lot of good things happening there. How different is it to not only have a restaurant that you're managing or owning, but also this kind of place where you have meetings and luncheons and groups coming in? It's like two businesses in one, isn't it?
Yeah, kind of, sort of. My first official restaurant was called Paisley Park. It was an upscale deli, but we also had a small banquet room in there. So I was not unfamiliar with that end of the business. We also did quite a bit of catering at the time, and so it was a good way to incorporate, everything.
Yeah. How would you kind of describe the menu at DLX? It's really diverse. It's got to be, if it's not the most diverse menu in the city, it's certainly got to be among them. But just about anything you could possibly want. So talk about how you shaped the menu and what you were looking for there.
When I chose the name China Club, it kind of locks you into what the theme of everything is. So when we moved, I wanted it to be more well-rounded in terms of offerings. And I've always told myself I would never put my name on a business, but there was a lot of people that advised me, hey, you should do this, you deserve it, and your reputation is good, that you should get your name out there. So market your name just as well as the food.
So, but yet everybody calls it as DLX. So you kind of like you're living the best of both worlds there.
Right.
Now, I know being an entrepreneur is something a lot of people talk about, but you've actually done it. You're still doing it today. I did read a quote from you when I was getting ready for the show today. I think you said, quote, "You celebrate wins, learn from mistakes, and hone your entrepreneurial skills." So, what have been your biggest wins? What mistakes have you learned the most from? And how has all that kind of shaped what's going on today?
Oh, one of the biggest philosophies I've had with food service is you have to be consistent more than anything. And I created this menu, and I just kind of stuck with it for all these years. A lot of times, you do all these market analysis and to see what the public wants, what customers want, and I've really never leaned that way. I've always kind of told, hey, this is what I do best. Try it, and come try what it is that we do versus trying to accommodate and adjust to what I think people want. And I think that the roots of that has really, has given people the idea that Dan's going to tell me what to eat now. Mm-hmm. I don't necessarily want to go to a place and have to modify everything the way I want it. So that expectation becomes, consistent.
I was in there. It's been a couple of years. What I'm remembering is from a Christmas party from a couple of years ago. I was with a group, and someone, because I think you got the best ribeye steaks in town, but someone in our group ordered that, and then had the temerity, the absolute God-given temerity, to say, "Can I get a bottle of steak sauce?" And I said, "What are you doing? Don't. So we talked him out of it. So the server said, "Yeah, I guess I could if we could have you. Don't ruin a great steak
Right.
by dumping Heinz 57 on it, for God's sake."
Oh, it's so funny because, for years and years and years, I would not even bring in a bottle of A1 into my place.
Oh,
I said, just please try it without it,
I kind of like that because sometimes, not that choice is a bad thing, but honestly, sometimes when you go out to eat, there's just too much choice. Sometimes it's just like, you know what? I'm going to put my full trust in what's presented to me on the menu and just sit back and try it.
that was always the key at Kentucky Fried Chicken. We've got one thing.
Yeah.
Chicken.
Yep.
That's right.
We can cook it like three ways,
Ahead
but
of the
it's
game.
chicken. It's what you get. Don't come into Kentucky Fried Chicken wanting a hamburger, because we don't have it.
That's right.
You get chicken. Now, when you look back, what I won't call it a mistake, but what's the biggest learning moment that you've had?
Oh, good question. I mean,
That's what we do here at the Newsman Weekly. We come up with these kind of really good
Right.
questions.
mistakes. I mean, there's mistakes all the time. Food service is complicated, and because to me, it's one of very few, if the only, industry where the service aspect and the food aspect are pretty much the same. You have to weigh them the same. Now, granted, yeah, there's other industries where your product and your service has to both be there, but this one forces you to have both, because now you have to have the whole experience.
Mm-hmm.
You see a lot of concepts that are leaning towards what they call "quote unquote" entertainments. Depending on how diverse it can get, it could be a little or a lot, but it's always some type of entertainment, whether it's simply just the ambiance, just running different specials, just to kind of freshen things up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now, it seems like a million years ago, thank God, but COVID back in 2020 had to put a strain on your business and put a strain on everybody's business. But I have a lot of friends in the food and entertainment industry, and the stories they tell me of what it took to survive during that time are amazing. So how'd you get through it all, and what were your keys to success during that tumultuous time?
Oh, yeah, COVID was tough. I remember I was sitting at a restaurant and they had announced the news, and it was hard to believe that they were actually going to shut us down. And so immediately, I mean, I think it was everyone did a big knee jerk. I mean, you know, this uncharted territory, we didn't know where to go. But you know, from my retail experience, you know, particularly Kroger, I turned DLX into a grocery store. You know, immediately those first few weeks, you know, people were hoarding everything at the grocery stores. Mm-hmm. So we took what we thought were the basics. You know, it's the eggs, the milk, the bread, even potatoes, and you know, later on it extended to even steaks. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. But I always joke about the grocery store because at the time, Crown Royal just had come out with their peach. All right.
That was a great moment.
Yeah, that was huge.
I'm just going to say.
I mean, everybody wanted it. Yeah. So I bought every case of peach Crown that I could. I think it was upwards of 26 cases, something ridiculous. But I always tell people we got through COVID because of Crown Royal Peach.
There we go.
Yeah, that's what my wife said. I got through because of Crown Royal Peach.
Yeah. That's smart to you. So you just started selling ingredients as a grocery store, and that was
pretty much
the last time Mansfield had a downtown grocery option.
Obviously, we sold a lot of liquor, a lot of beer, a lot of wine. You know, whatever we could do to continue that cash flow.
And then you could get alcohol as takeout for a while.
Exactly.
Yeah. Give me a cup of margarita to go, please. That was such a weird time.
You know, the other piece of it, you know, were my employees. They're such troopers, you know, because, you know, especially the servers. I mean, their income came to a complete halt.
Right.
So, you know, we went on as many platforms as possible to do deliveries. As well as, you know, doing it in-house. So, you know, they all became delivery people, and I could still pay them, you know, a decent wage through those times until we could reopen.
I remember one of my wife and I's favorite place, because it's not far from our house, is Rancho Fiesta there on Trimble. And when they reopened, the booths, you had to be sitting like 40 feet away from each other. But they also put out tables on the sidewalk or the walk next to the restaurant. And we said, we got to go. We were so tired of sitting at home. So we're literally sitting at this rickety table on the sidewalk. And it was it was really hot or really cold, remember which one. And we're sitting there outdoors, and I'm thinking, I'm drinking this, you know, gallon of draft beer, and I'm thinking, this is really cool. I'm sitting outdoors again, and they're bringing food to me.
Right.
You know, it was such a weird, you know, people that were too young, at some point they're going to realize just how goofy all of that was. Hopefully not in my lifetime, but anyway.
Well, did you did your patio seating right around that time, wasn't it? Or no? When did you?
No, I mean, we had,
You already had it?
Yeah, we already had it. You know, obviously we followed all the social distancing rules and whatnot. But yes, patio season, once they allowed us to reopen, was huge. Yeah.
Now, you are clearly invested in downtown Mansfield through DLX, the Axe Social Lounge on North Diamond. What makes you so bullish about downtown Mansfield when maybe some other people aren't?
Oh, let's see. I'm going on my 9th year being downtown. And, you know, you see the growth, you see the potential, and you see the camaraderie amongst the merchants and the elected officials and everyone else that's already been divested into downtown Mansfield. And, you know, I obviously hopped on that wagon, but then come to find out that, especially being on the square, that, boy, we're a destination now.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we've added a lot to downtown Mansfield. So it was a feel-good thing. And not to go off on a tangent, but
Please do.
Feel free.
so, obviously, I'm first generation Korean American, but I have two trees and two sets of roots. This is kind of how I take my life, where I take the cultural aspects of everything that I grew up with, as well as being a Mansfield native. So I got Mansfield roots and I got the cultural roots.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think a good example would be, in the Asian culture, they don't express love. They don't touch. They don't say verbally like "I love you." It's everything is through action. And I've kind of taken that philosophy in everything I do and express those achievements or attempts or accomplishments into saying, "Hey, I love you," if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I've always felt I was a half a step behind when it came to, being part of the community and whatnot. But the latter half of my life, I realized that because of how I was raised and because of the roots here in Mansfield, that those are the things that I can now express, even though it's not necessarily verbally.
Right.
It's through the attempts of trying to make things better. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I think people in Mansfield appreciate that. Like, your love language is just doing cool shit for the city.
Exactly.
Yeah, I guess in a nutshell.
So
but-
are there any like things you got your eye on that you can tease out, or any I don't know, rooftop bar developments, or?
Well, I'm sure, the word's kind of out there, but, Carl Ferniak and I are hopefully wanting to develop the Old Shore Furniture Building, which is where the Axe Lounges is housed, into a boutique hotel. That's kind of our goal.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we actually just went through phase 2 of the project, to where we had to get it on the National Historical Registry.
Mm-hmm.
So that's gone through in order to be able to finish and apply for, these couple grants that we're trying to get.
Now, speaking of downtown, there's a little construction project going on right now on Main Street. Some people have heard about it. You have been one of the more positive voices that I've heard from business owners along the corridor since the project began 8 months ago. What helps you stay so positive when so many streets are closed and businesses are being negatively impacted? And why is patience and persistence so important?
Oh boy, that goes back to the Asian roots, I think, too, as well. But for me, change is good. Change is for the positive. It's been a long time coming, I think. I remember, actually not too long ago, speaking with Mayor Thaker about, when they first started talking about this, and a lot of positive things. And obviously it was much needed from the infrastructure standpoint.
Right.
But, this is going to really catapult us to a different level, I believe. Yeah, I truly believe that. And I think we're doing the right thing.
Now, one of the things part of the reason I want to get you in today is your involvement, not just in running your business, but you've invested not only your money and time in your own business, but you're helping other people's, like with the orange cones thing. But you also helped launch Gravity Ohio a few years ago. Now, this is an organization that supports art in all forms: music, dance, theater, sculpture, photography, culinary arts, and a lot more. Why is that effort, or why was that effort so important to you? And kind of bring us up to speed on what's going on with Gravity Ohio today.
So Gravity Ohio was first found primarily, we have two primarily pillars. It's the culinary incubation. The other one is music preservation. The culinary side of things, we are slowly seeing an erosion of independent food service and hospitality owners. And I don't know if we've done a good job in trying to find and cultivate that part of the, business. And so, we've reached out to, for example, like the Madison culinary students, and to see what their interests are in getting a higher degree, and whether it's a certificate program or it could all the way up to a 2 years associate. Initially we reached out to North Central State, and right now we're working with Ashland College as well, just to find some programs to where, because the education piece is just as important as the experience, but there's been a handful of other organizations that have, chimed in and helped in trying to get this thing, moving, as far as like for example, like the Culinary Kitchen over here with Karina. And so it's a work in progress, but hopefully we're not behind the 8 ball. But, for me, and I think many people believe that food and beverage is what drives a community. And with that goal in mind, it has to start with the individuals that are wanting to do that. So,
Well, excellent. Now, I know, what about some of the art stuff that you guys were involved in? I know just music, when some of the stuff that you guys get involved in. You have music outside the New Year's Eve thing every year. Not only that, but Dan gives up space and time. And I know I wrote about Doc Stumbo a couple weeks ago on Make a Difference Day, because God bless Doc. He's one of the last great Americans. But you get involved in so much other stuff other than just running a restaurant, that I wanted to give you a chance to talk about some of that.
Yeah, I do. After Marianne Cooper retired from the academy, I snatched her up really fast because I wanted her to spearhead and lead, the other part of our pillar, the music preservation. And I think what is important is, you see some of these organizations that put on these other musicals and plays and whatnot, and it always just kind of seems like the same people get the same parts and whatnot. To give other individuals that are just as talented, if not more, the opportunity to perform, and to get different genres of music out there that, perhaps the younger generation are not familiar with. I mean, we don't want to lose that. I grew up with music my entire life. I actually have a minor in music.
Excellent.
And play numerous different instruments, but it's becoming a lost art as well. And with the struggles that our schools have with budgets and financing, it's hard to push that side of things when it's not there.
Now, what's your go-to karaoke song?
Oh, geez. What's funny about karaoke and me, Sam Romanoli and I have been doing this for maybe 30 years.
Is that the guy that I see
Yeah.
he's always doing karaoke?
I mean, he is
somewhere. He's the guy.
person, let alone an unbelievable musician himself.
Okay.
But for me, I got into it not only from the business standpoint. It was good for business, get them in late and, and whatnot. But for me, it broke. I could break the ice with people. I was very introverted growing up, very shy. But what I come to find out was that people love seeing the owner get front and center, and just to be able to, touch whatever it is that's going on in that moment. Yeah. So I think that's more of a reason why I do it now.
Yeah, the best picture I got at the Orange Cone Festival was Dan Lew singing karaoke. I'll just throw it out there.
We love karaoke in our family. When's the next one at DLX?
Oh, we stopped doing it at DLX. We actually moved it to Cheetos, so it's at Cheetos
in Lexington.
Yes, every Friday.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, folks, we are going to wrap up today's show on that musical note. Many thanks to Dan Lew for joining us today. Dan is one of the most interesting people in town, and I regret the fact we haven't gotten him on before, but once I saw him sing karaoke, I said, I got to have that guy. But Dan, thanks very much for being here.
No, Carl, thank you.
And be sure to join us next week. Our guests will be B.J. Price and Adam McElroy from Skate, Ohio. They got some cool shit going on these days, and we like cool stuff. So
Yes, we do.
for now, thanks again to all of you for listening to the Newsman Weekly. I'll be back in a second to put a bow on this week's episode. But until then, remember what author Mark Twain once said. If you tell the truth, you don't have to remember anything.